Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages from all across the world. You are now tuned into the Chandler Brief, where the dress code is, of course, business casual. I made a very poor dressing choice today in wearing a black shirt with my black tie. So clearly, we're starting off the week a little rocky. You guys might not be able to see what I'm wearing very well, but this is, of course, the Chandler Brief, our daily show every weekday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we dissolve and break down the news stories of the day for basically the 5 days of the week, which is Monday, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. Most days, except for days of which I'm busy doing something else, of which I'll let you guys know beforehand. Now, of course, we try to limit the show to about 30 minutes each. So, with that out of the way, we're going to jump in. We've got just about 29 minutes of the show left, so let's just jump right into it. Justin Trudeau has now opted to invoke emergency powers and have guns seized in Alberta. Now, this second part of the story we're going to react to in one of our later stories. We're going to focus on this first part right here, which is Trudeau to invoke emergency powers, which is pretty insane. Shout out to Stephen Padilla in the chat. Shout out to my people over on Gitter and my people over on Rumble. Of course, we stream on all of these platforms every weekday at 3. So shout out to everybody over there. And then shout out to everybody who's joining in on our brand new YouTube channel we're streaming on. I know it's a change, but we're starting it up this week, so this is the only place on YouTube you can find the Chandler Brief. Thank you guys so much. Now, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau will invoke emergency powers in response to trucker-led protests in Canada's capital city that have entered their 18th day. Whew! Trudeau informed provincial premiers of his decision to use the Emergencies Act during a virtual meeting Monday morning. According to a government official speaking on condition of anonymity before the announcement, the Prime Minister is scheduled to speak to reporters in Ottawa at 4:30 alongside his Attorney General and other top cabinet officials, so this will be later today. The RCMP also made arrests Monday at an offshoot demonstration in Western Canada, seizing a cache of weapons at a border blockade in Alberta. Using the Emergencies Act gives the federal government extraordinary powers, including the right to ban public assembly in certain locations and to requisition properties it deems necessary for managing the situation. The Canadian Broadcasting Corporation first reported the news. The act also allows the government to order the provision of essential services by any person and to impose emergency fines or imprisonment for violating orders. It has never been used since coming into effect in 1988 and is meant for an urgent and critical situation, temporary in nature, that endangers the lives, health, or safety of Canadians. This is historic. He has never once done this before. I shouldn't even say he. It has never happened in Canada before since they even wrote it into law in 1988. This has never happened before. But just a couple dozen, as they would say, a fringe minority of truckers, but in reality, a few hundred truckers, maybe even a couple thousand truckers, and tens of thousands of protesters in Canada alone are enough to make the government think, we've got something to be scared of, let's start shutting down the country, even more than we have before. And it is all because of the vaccine mandates, the mask mandates, any of those mandates that are requiring people to lose their choice and lose their own dignity as far as making their decisions regarding their life. So here's what some people had to say about that. Somebody says, when you have to invoke the Emergencies Act, you know you've lost because it's the ultimate power grab, and that if that's all you've got left to retain power, you've been defeated by the people. May God have mercy on your soul. Now, personally, I'm a big fan of these Canadian protests, and I don't even take it that far. I just think, they're trying to take back a little bit of control. I understand it. If I was in Trudeau's shoes and had his opinions, I'd probably do the exact same thing. But I wonder what you guys think of it. Let me know in the chat below what you guys are thinking about all this, and I'll check in a little bit later on. Some other person had a very different opinion of it, though. This is Nilly Kaplan, who had quite the spat with Viva Frey, and we'll check that out in a minute. But she says, if anyone other than a group of white supremacists were engaging in an anti-democracy, hate-fueled convoy, they'd have faced consequences long before now. Perhaps CDM media can stop saying this is about vaccines or trucks now. Emergencies Act is for anti-government threats. So according to this lady, they are an anti-government group of white supremacists who are engaging in an anti-democracy, hate-filled convoy. Yeah, that's right, because not delivering you your Starbucks and the cat food for your 20 cats is clearly resisting and standing for white supremacy. At least, I guess that's what it is in 2022. A lot of people had a lot of things to say about this, and if we've got a little time, I want to show you guys what Viva Frey said. He should be, or I guess it's just not going to show it. His thing is over here, but I guess they hid it. Oh well. We'll have to find that another time, I guess. But she actually blocked him for it, which is just hilarious. But he called her a liar, basically, because these people are not white supremacists. In fact, plenty of them are, as these people would say, people of color that are in these protests. There's a good amount of black, Hispanic, Asian, if that's still people of color, different races of protesters that aren't really caring about whether it's black or white. They're caring about whether it's freedom or not freedom. That's the question. Now, of course, Doug Ford came out, and he was one of the very first to announce a state of emergency within his province of Ontario. He actually came out to say he will support Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's decision to invoke the Emergencies Act. And this appears to actually be before Justin Trudeau has even made a public announcement about it. So, appears he's just feeding the frenzy. Let's check it out.
But I will tell you,
Let me turn it up a little bit.
Support the federal government in any proposals they have to bring law and order back to our province, to make sure we stabilize our businesses and trade around the world as the world is watching us right now, wondering if it's a stable environment to open up businesses and expand businesses. These occupiers, they're doing the total opposite, what they say they're there to do. They're hurting hundreds of thousands of families, millions of jobs across the province. I've been speaking to numerous CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, wondering if they should continue to expand. Well, my message to them, yes, we're open for business.
So if that was a little bit quiet, he was basically just saying, I support the Emergencies Act. These truckers are doing things that they should not be doing. And it's pretty clear to see that this guy's kind of, somebody's calling him a clown. Here is your emergency. That's beautiful. We'll check that out in a minute because I think that's one of our next stories. But jumping in a little bit further about the arrest of 11 people and seizure of weapons. This happened in Coates, Alberta, which, as you guys know, is actually not in Ontario, but it's still out west of west in Canada. But police say a small organized group within the protest had an arsenal and were willing to use it if any attempts were made to disrupt the blockade. Let's see here. Demonstrators have been protesting against COVID vaccine mandates for cross-border truck drivers and broader health restrictions. A blockade of trucks and vehicles has been at the crossing since January 29th. Police say a small organized group within the protests was said to have a willingness to use force against the police if any attempts were made to disrupt the blockade. They say officers executed a search warrant early this morning. Officers have detained the 11 people and seized 13 long guns, handguns, multiple sets of body armor, a machete, and ammo. Police say, as an example of the militant mindset of the group, earlier on Sunday evening, a large farm tractor and a semi-truck attempted to ram a police vehicle. The police officer was able to reposition and avoid the collision. RCMP officers followed the suspects to a location where the protesters were gathered. The driver of the tractor was identified and the police are searching for him. They seized the farm tractor and semi-truck. The arrests follow news of Mounties handing out dozens of tickets over the weekend, most under the Traffic Safety Act. And then there's a quote from somebody working within the RCMP. It's pretty clear that, some of these truckers are starting to get a little rowdy, and police are arresting them for having weapons and such, and I guess the policy in Canada is just about as restrictive as it is in Australia and the UK, more or less, but the RCMP are doing their job, arresting dozens, or just about a dozen of people. It's getting pretty crazy, but still, even through all that, these quote-unquote white supremacist truckers seem to be carrying your flag, and carrying the flags of your allied nations within the Commonwealth. Check this out. Let me turn this down. Wow. And this is just only the half of it. Not even really. Check out some more of these videos. This is just from days ago, earlier in the week. Or last week, I should say. It doesn't look very terroristic to me. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I mean, here they are parking tow trucks trying to take him down, but still, nothing's stopping them. And they're actually blocking off the road over there. Let's keep going, because there's a lot of video to show you guys. And then we actually have a little bit of story about it spreading out to other places as well. I want to check that out.
Hi. I'm trying to get to Nathan Phillips Square.
For what?
For work.
Okay. Just try to go through there.
All right.
For what? So we actually got stopped, and he basically pulled up papers, please. Thankfully, he didn't have to present any papers, but for what? You have a purpose for your travel?
Nathan Phillips Square.
For what?
For
That's
work.
scary.
Okay.
For what? For work. Well, there you go. Now, somebody says, blockade the roads to deny the right to peacefully protest at municipal and provincial government buildings. Every citizen should be in the streets. And then here's an image of possible road closure. This looks like the Uber app, I think. Either that or Google Maps, but either way, it's showing off that the roads are blocked. The police are doing their very own blockades of the road, trying to prevent protesters and trying to prevent people from actually saying what they want to say. They're doing what they want to do. In Saskatchewan, though, their goals are being achieved. Because Saskatchewan, which is a province of Canada, if I remember correctly, says residents no longer need to show vaccination status to enter places. Now, this is something we had announced a little bit before, but it seems to now be coming fully to term in that they've got their freedom back. Saskatchewan has lifted its public health order that require residents to show proof of COVID vaccination or a negative test to enter most businesses. The vaccine passport system, which was brought in last October, ended at 12:01 a.m. today. Premier Scott Moe says the policy helped increase vaccination rates in the province, but suggests its costs now outweigh its benefits. The province's chief medical health officer says Saskatchewan has reached its peak during the Omicron wave, but he expects hospitalizations will continue rising for the next week before tapering off. The province has 2 remaining health orders in place that require people to wear masks indoors and to self-isolate when they test positive for COVID. Both of those orders will also expire at the end of the month. So even the indoor mask mandate is set to expire before March, right at the end of February. This is great news if you're of the opinion that these mandates and these other things aren't pro-science in any way, shape, or form, and you want to get your freedom back. So that's why these convoys and protests are spreading to other places, like they are in Israel. But before we jump into that, I want to remind you that this show is 100% supported by viewers like you. So if you're interested in making sure that these shows can continue coming to your favorite platforms like Rumble, Getter, and even here on YouTube, then definitely make sure you consider a one-time or a monthly donation via DonorBox, which is our donation processor. So if you just go to donorbox.org/support-Chandler, you can consider donating to support our content. I want to give a thank you to Grace and Steve, who were donors of our most recent show last Friday, I believe. Grace, I forgot to read her message on stream, but she says, I remember you on election night. You were there watching them cover up the windows so we couldn't see them cheat. Thanks for keeping us informed. Thank you for your donation, Grace, and thank you for your support. Also, shout out to my friend Steve Harloa. I don't know what time it is out there in Hawaii. It's probably very early in the morning over there, so he might not be awake for this show, but I do hope to see him once again tomorrow for our 8 p.m. show, Crump Live, and I hope to see you guys all there as well. And then last but not least, I want to remind you that this show is supported and sponsored, of course, by MyPillow. So if you're interested in getting very comfortable discounts on the most comfortable pillow you may ever own, trademark patent pending, I don't know, I might be false advertising, but you have to try it for yourself. So go to mypillow.com and use code CRUMP to get your hands on one of these amazingly comfortable MyPillows. But something I'm just as comfortable with as a pillow are great protests for freedom. Not protests for racial equity or racial justice, because in the end, those just turn into riots. No, actual protests for freedom get things done. Convoys of truckers and vehicles are now arriving in Jerusalem, which is Israel's capital, to protest COVID restrictions. Check this out. If it plays. Jeez, loud. Truckers, am I right? Whew. Had to turn it down. Dang. They're just laying on their horns. It's a little difficult to react to it. Let's just fast forward. We don't have to play the audio, but just look at all these different truckers. If you guys heard the audio, you'd know. But dang, and they look like they're all driving the exact same truck too. I can't tell if it's just the low quality stream or if it's just I don't know. But and then here's another video. So let's translate this. At the entrance to Jerusalem, we stopped to take a breath and explain to the people that the rights we were born with cannot be taken away. That's a rough translation, but here we are. Let's see what this is about. Let me turn it to that level. So they're speaking Hebrew, of course. So we obviously I can't quite understand what they're saying. I don't know, some of y'all might speak Hebrew. If you know Hebrew, let me know in the comments below what she's saying. But I guess the general message is we have freedom and you can't take it away. Hashtag truckers for freedom, hashtag hold the line at Israel convoy. Ooh, what is this? Wow, they have their own. Oh, wow. I might have to make a whole video on this because they have so much content. Yeah, if you guys want to see a video about this, smash that like button and let me know in the comments below if you want to see some more of this. Let's move on, though, because we don't have the time to cover all these. Actually, you know what? I'll go a little further because I am interested to see a little bit of what this account has, and we've got a little bit of time. There's some more videos. Oh, look at this. Wow. They're clogging their streets too. Wow. More videos of on the highways. That's nice. Everywhere too. This one's sped up. People holding signs on the side of the road. People flying the Israeli flag. It's beautiful. Everything. You even got the rainbow, which is a signal of God. There you go. That's how you do it. That's how you show that these protests aren't for anything but love and freedom. Love and freedom, and that's what people are after. Cutting off from the truckers cop topic for now, I want to move on to something that I found a little funny that I wanted to show you guys. It's a couple days old, but it is the new mayor of New York who seems to be constantly embarrassing himself in ways that are simply unbelievable. Like, I can't believe these are real. He says, we pulled Trump off of Twitter, yet we are allowing music displaying of guns and violence? What is he talking about right now? Let's check this out.
And I had no idea what drill rapping was, but I called my son, and he sent me some videos, and it is alarming. And we are going to pull together the social media companies and sit down with them and state that you have a civic and corporate responsibility. You know, I mean, we pulled Trump off Twitter because of what he was spewing. Yet we are allowing music, displaying of guns, violence. We're allowing it to stay on these sites because look at the victims.
Uh-oh. This is what happens when you let censorship of your enemies take place. Then they start to censor your culture. And we're seeing it right before our eyes. He literally said the quiet part out loud. That's a Gen Z phrase. Some of my younger viewers may know about that if you're older. Now you know it. You could say it to your grandchildren or your children, nieces or nephews. Say, he said the quiet part out loud, and they're gonna look at you like, how do you know that? Tell them Chandler told you. But he said the quiet part out loud in the fact that we took Trump off of Twitter. Now let's get these dang rappers who are rapping about shooting and killing. Now, do I disagree that these rappers rapping about shooting and killing and a lot of these drill rappers are wrong? No, I agree with them. That's why I've made my own drill songs, not about killing and shooting, but about being against vaccine mandates. Like this song, for example. This hat is not just a trendy statement, and it's not just Vax Rebel. It's a song. It is culture. It is part of the movement that we're all a part of. But instead, I think he just wants to hide it all so that he can be the only person you listen to. I mean, he wants to talk about getting these drill rappers off the platforms, which, I mean, unless they're actually breaking any terms of service or breaking the law and then recording themselves doing it, just doesn't make sense.
We're bringing them in. We're going to show exactly what is being displayed, and we are alarmed by it. We are alarmed by the use of social media to really over-proliferate this violence in communities. And
over-proliferate. I mean, he's saying cool things, but in the end, he's not really getting much done. He really isn't. And that's just typical for somebody who calls himself the Biden of Brooklyn. But I guess his statements are actually starting to have and take weight. Because now, in high schools, this is only, a couple hundred miles away from where he's giving that speech in Wexford, Pennsylvania, brainwashed white high school students, I don't even know why we needed to say white, but it's not surprising, at North Allegheny Senior High in Wexford, Pennsylvania, have thrown hundreds of library books written by white authors into a dumpster in order to decolonize their school library. Now, I saw this thanks to Elijah Schaefer, and I just had to check out and see what this is all about. So let's see here. Okay, we don't need to have that music playing because it's nothing. It's just playing music, but they're literally just taking books and throwing them into the thing. So let's see if we can look at what some of these books are. So there's some sort of green book, and then this next one is The War Against Boys, How Misguided Feminism is Harming Our Young Men. Very true. Probably a rather important book. Let's check it out. Gone. Stock Market Logic, a sophisticated approach to profits on Wall Street. To the recycle bin, which will end up in the trash. We found so many. They're taking books, and let me show you how misguided this is. Their own parents are paying for these books with tax dollars. I mean, probably only about pennies or so of your tax dollars are actually going towards buying books for your school. I'm sure some of them are even donated or just found, but still, they're taking their parents or possibly even themselves' own money through sales tax and other things and throwing it right in the bin. Shows you how uneducated they are despite going to what you expect would be very well-funded schools in first world country America. But here they are, reshelving the colonizer literature, conquistadors, and exploring Africa, throwing them in the trash. They're making a game out of it. Now, whether any of these books actually had any, actual literary content and gain to read is up for interpretation, and it's up for, I guess, debate. But at the very least, leave the books there, or you're going to seem a lot like the people who used to burn the books. Now, are they burning the books? No. But are they burning the books? Yes. And notice the tonal difference there. They're not literally lighting the books on fire, but they might as well be by throwing them in the trash. It's not going to be like the school's going to reach in the trash and reshelve all the books. And they've already made their statement rather clear by throwing them in the garbage. That they don't stand for this. They don't stand for the literature. He's doing this with the books. Just like the money. You too, what the heck? Gosh. I guess that's just what people think. And it's their school's kitchen too. Let's see what the comments say. No worries, they will have good jobs cleaning the toilets of those of us who will read and learn from those books. Dang. And then this is what I was referencing, but history repeats itself. Book burnings. Wow. True. They likely want you to get mad and freak out, but it looks like a typical curation of a school library. Notice the tables with all the books, good chance they even had a book sale, but of course never let a chance pass up to virtue signal on the social. So, that's an idea. That's what you would hope for, but it is what it is. I see my people over here on Gitter. I want to read some of your comments. Demo says, I prefer singing and instruments myself. Hey, everybody loves different things. I make all of it. I make singing songs and drill rap and all sorts of stuff like that. So we're in all facets of the culture, but it appears no matter what, Eric Adams is probably going to stand against me. Our next and final topic of the day is one that I thought was rather funny, but a lot of people have been rather concerned about, which is from the ATF. Now, if you guys don't know what the ATF, it's the Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms Administration. I think it's administration or bureau, one of those two, words that definitely mean something. But they've posted a tweet today that has received quite the feedback. They say Valentine's Day can still be fun even if you broke up. Do you have information about a former or current partner involved in illegal gun activity? Let us know, and we will make sure it's a Valentine's Day to remember. And then the image has got an ex who buys or sells guns illegally. We would love to meet them and treat them to a Valentine's Day surprise. Call 188-ATF-TIPS or 188-283-8477. And they even have a little broken heart emoji there, or broken heart image. And Jack Posobiec says, you mean like this guy? Which Hunter Biden with a dang magnum and the boot. At least it's not Trump. This is what the government is doing now. Which is just straight up hilarious, honestly. Straight up hilarious how direct they are. They're like, you got an ex with guns that you shouldn't have, he or she? We'll come and take them from you. We'll take care of it. It is insane to believe. But Eric Adams, people throwing out books, you're going to forget your history, and it's going to repeat itself. And that's just what's going to happen. Speaking of repeat yourself, we will be back here tomorrow at 3 p.m. for the next iteration, the next edition of the Chandler Brief. So I hope to see you guys once again tomorrow with plenty more subjects. You'll be able to tune in right here once again on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for being here. Shout out to everybody who's supported me. Smash that like button, all that good stuff. And aside from all that, I'll catch you next time, free thinkers. Don't forget to spread the virus of intelligence. Peace out, and see you tomorrow.